Hey, welcome back. Round 4, the last round here at the DC Fall Open at the National Go Center in Washington, D.C. Chris Garlock here with Michael Redmond, 9-down professional. Michael, how you holding up?
I'm okay.
One more round. We
One
just
more
got
round,
ourselves a little caffeine. Starbucks has a new, what do they call that thing? It's had espresso.
Cardiano or something like that.
Yeah, it had espresso and mocha in it. So we got our chocolate and our caffeine.
Right, yeah. We needed that.
Yeah, so let's get Starbucks in as a sponsor.
Yes.
We need lots of caffeine. All right, so hope you have been enjoying this inaugural broadcast from the National Go Center and the Ejournal's Broadcast Center. I'm going to get a sign.
Okay.
Ejournal Broadcast Center.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Here at the National Go Center. We've been having a lot of fun, have had some really interesting games, and this is our last one to determine who's going to be the champion. And so let's do a quick update as promised. We'll go ahead and throw up the head-to-head. Nathan's put together another one of these wonderful head-to-heads for this round. Yuan Zhou, who we saw earlier today, round 1, I think it was.
The first round.
Yeah. Up against Justin Teng. We just saw Justin in the last round. And Yuan is 6-1 against Justin. So that should be, 7 down, 6 down, pretty close in strength there. So that really shouldn't be a factor. So for an update on where we are overall, Yuan, Justin, and Jeff are all 2-1 going into this round. And according to our sources, i.e. Nathan and Gurujeet, Yuan and Justin are tied for second with SOS, and Jeff is first. So our best guess from here, this is sort of our equivalent of the IBM cloud, right, guys? It's going to go with the Nathan cloud. If Justin wins, he will probably win on tie breaks. So no pressure, Justin.
Well, he has to win.
He has to win.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure, actually. All right.
Yeah. And otherwise, I think that we're not very sure what happens.
It gets complicated.
It gets more
lots of tie breaking that we don't have to worry about. Yeah, cool. All right.
That's assuming that Jeff wins.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I think, is playing a 2-stone game at the moment. Is that right? Potentially, I think.
He's playing Jonathan. I'm not sure if it's handicap or not.
Jonathan, okay. Yeah. All right. So that's not guaranteed. That could be an interesting game. All right. Well, we'll keep you posted on any news that we get on that. In the meantime, why don't we jump into the room for just a second, Nathan, and show folks what folks are looking like. There's the guys. And I think Keith is back with us as game recorder. Yeah, so he was kind of hoping to get fired after that last round, but we're very understanding here at the Ejournal Broadcast Center. So it was a complicated situation. There was a lot of what happened was that there was an issue over hitting the clock that got confusing. So, all right, looks like we have some game to analyze here.
Yeah.
So why don't we get started? As usual, you got your questions. Just holler out. Got the stream right here, the chat, so you can just holler at us and we will answer your questions. Give you shout outs.
So white playing the Kakari here against black's approach to this corner has become very common just because this was also something that was played by AlphaGo originally, and when black played the double Kakari, white in one game AlphaGo played the pressing move here, which again is a move that AlphaGo, especially in the master version, it really liked to play this move. And in the combination of this pressing move and I believe it was this attachment was played in a number of games, and so it was very successful with this. And so black answers here, and it's more common nowadays in professional games, I think, to answer in a knight's move, but this would seem more natural before AIs. And white again played it. So I think I remember that Justin played this move in the last round also. In that game, he won by about 6 points. Oh, so I'm wrong. Sorry about that. So black played the double
I thought you
card.
were showing a variation.
I was just getting carried away.
Michael's excited. Round 4.
Yeah. So white plays here. This is actually a point where it looks like white connected, but this is where it's become common to play the attachment here. So this is something white could have done. And if black pushes through here, white connects. Black plays a hane, white plays a hanging connection. And this is also a fairly even result. Like if black plays here, white can play an extension here. So this is a joseki that could have been played. Connecting here on the third line has been around a long time. It's the stronger move, so this is okay also. And black plays a pincer here. Actually, I played a game almost exactly the same, and I played the AlphaGo move with the one spit. I don't think I did a commentary for this.
I don't think so. There is a commentary that may or may not be
It should be out fairly soon, shouldn't it? Yeah, against Akiyama. I played a new move in that game too.
Nathan, take a look on our YouTube channel. We've been so busy we forgot to check, but we did a batch a couple of months ago that just have been released recently, and we think that there's a Michael game maybe on the YouTube channel. It'll be on the very bottom. It won't be the top game, but it'll be on the very bottom. And I think it was
Akiyama.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's cool. It's up. I think it was just posted last night.
In that game was
so you all can check it out.
Yeah. And so white plays this pressing move again. So this was something that Justin was doing in the last round too. I'm playing Atari here and then jumping. So in the other game, the opponent played the curl around here. It's actually nowadays more normal to play this pushing move. Although you can play on this side first too, which is actually very common also. And white can actually squeeze with this variation, but this is usually considered to be playable for black. White gets a nice squeeze here, but it is a lot of territory. But this might have been what black wanted to avoid by playing all those pushing moves. But white would be getting a nice territory-like shape. So in the game, black pushed first, so that's avoiding that squeeze there. And white extended. Black probably pushed once more. No, not here first. And white played here. Oh, extended down. Yeah. Covered. So that's alive.
I'm going to hang it.
Yeah. And then here. So it's a very natural sequence.
It's all looking pretty normal, right?
It's actually probably pretty good for black.
Interesting. The honey underneath instead.
Well, the timing of the honey is sort of difficult. Like I would have waited once for playing it, but it's okay to play it now.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, well that's okay.
That's going to be answered here. Just a little test.
There's a number of ways white can answer it. Like white could answer it here or here. The problem with this move is that in the end game, this would be the correct move, but it leaves the liberty open here. So white would like to fill that liberty, and white does have a big move next. So, and also when white does, when it gets into a fight here, sometimes white will just take the stone like this and have more eye shape. So it's okay. Black was just sort of probing here to see how white answered, and then black played here. Black jumped. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, here. White played out. Yeah, a very logical sequence. Very natural. White starts to attack here. And this white group on the right side, it doesn't have any eyes yet, so black has potential to attack for a while. Black's group on the lower side is not alive, but it's if black plays first, it's going to be okay. So black answers here. White still needs to do something for that white group, I think. But we've caught up. Good. Okay, so the position situation here.
Sorry, I'm repeating some questions on the stream. Sorry, we were so catching up. Corner sequence complicated. 06.
07. Actually, no.
07.
Instead of pushing 5.
Oh, yeah. Just we'll talk about. There's a question about this one.
So it was like this. Did the person want to play a hane underneath? What was the question?
I think he's expecting N5. He was expecting N5, but instead O7 was played, and he wanted to.
N5.
It doesn't make sense.
N5 is already played.
It's already played. Can you talk about 06? That's the interesting move. 06?
07. Instead of the push I say instead of the push. Oh, sorry. We're
I think 06 must be this move.
Yeah.
So the squeeze I was talking about.
No. So instead of the push at N5, this is the push at N5.
If you have a guess as to what it is, let's go with that.
That's this one here.
You mean this move? Maybe they meant this move. That's not 06 though. It's P6. This is a move that I was discussing last time. But black usually plays the jump here first and then plays here. The idea is that black has all these forcing moves, but would rather have white come out before black actually does them. Because otherwise black would be able to play this way and have the cut here. So white pushes through. This could be the move that was meant to be discussed here. And black gets to cut here, for instance. And in this case, again, the ladder favors white, so it's so white would be able to make a life on the side. So it's an even, and that's okay for white. It's really effective when the ladder favors black and black can capture these stones in this way, which would be much more efficient. So in the game, black pushed twice, I think, or maybe just once yet, and then lived in the corner.
Right.
And so white played here and here. So this is sort of a forced sequence. It's a very natural sequence. And the hane is going to be forcing at some point, so it makes sense to keep playing it. And then here. So the problem with the white has is these stones don't have eyes. I would actually be thinking of playing the attachment here. Because after playing this move, and usually black might extend, and white can pull back here. Now white has the cut here, so this is sort of white's taking vital points to make the cut possible. So I think this looks like a better shape for white. And the main fight will be in the center of the board. And so white wants to get as much momentum. For instance, white could even play this move first to get on top of black like this, so that white has an advantage in the fight on this side.
Right.
And so this move was maybe a bit slow. And then
it doesn't really have much impact on the right.
Right. Did black play here immediately and then white here?
No, it jumped.
He played here first, yeah. So now this threatens to close white in, so it's probably okay for white to play that way. And then here.
The lead.
And black played here.
Right.
So the situation now is that white is not yet alive and does not really have enough room locally. Like this was a sharp move that white played. If black connects, white can cut here, and black will not be able to take this one stone because white can curl around. So that's how this move is working. And so black defended by covering on the side here, and white does not have any immediate successful move on the side. So still white has to worry about these white stones. Like if white plays here, for the time being it's going to be a ladder, right? So if white cuts, black just takes in a ladder. Otherwise, if white plays here and then cuts on this side, there is some potential, but white's not quite ready to do it. Like even in this case, black would just play once here and then connect, and there would be the cut here, so it's not really working for white. And in an extreme variation, like if white actually gets rid of the cut first with something like this, then black can just play like this and squeeze, and this would be okay for black also. Although black's very low and has a connection on the first line, white's not actually getting any eyes out of this, and so this would be okay for black. So it's not immediately going to be effective, although it could make a, yeah, there you go. It makes a difference when white plays that move. When white plays here, it's going to take a little bit more effort for black to actually capture this stone. So white might get a little bit extra potential from the outside.
Oh, some guy named Phil Strauss. Hey Phil, how you doing? Wish you were down here. Wants to know about before the right side's played out, the pushing and
pushing through and cutting at
D5. That's a good
D5.
question.
And let's just take these two
ask
stones
about
off
that.
to take it very
Yeah,
immediately.
what does happen?
All sorts of stuff can happen. Well, first of all, if white plays here at any point, white can make a living shape. So this is one thing that white might try to do. But it's much more exciting when white cuts here. For the time being, black's sort of in trouble. So black has to come underneath. And white has some options of sacrificing cornerstones. So this is one way it can turn out. Black can play here. White is still not 100% dead. But when the ladder favors black, black can actually play once here to make a forcing move. Maybe white will play here, but black can make some forcing moves here first before playing this. And the story is that if white manages to live, in this case it's pretty difficult for white to get an unconditional life. Like if white plays here and black plays here, white still has to go back to the corner. If white plays here, it's more fast-paced, but this is actually a position where black has a co-left in the corner. If black does something like this, well, for instance, like this. This is the normal way to go after. Black might need a stone here first, but you can see black's getting good shapes on both sides. So this would be okay for black. But it gets more exciting when white does something like this on the way and sort of presses this black group and has potential to basically to sacrifice the cornerstones, and then does this cut. And then is building thickness on both sides while black is using a lot of stones. And black can play the Hanero control. If black rolls, white can play this exchange. It makes it more complicated. And white will be playing the important moves on the outside and sort of giving this away to black and trying to get a squeeze from both sides. So white would be getting everything on the outside. Black would be getting the corner. So this is maybe a more likely way for white to handle it. So there is potential for black to capture the corner, depending on how white responds. Like I was saying, white can play here and it will be a living shape, more or less.
But I like the idea of building
trying
some
to
nice
build on the
thickness
outside.
on
So
the
that's why
outside.
it's
You've only a
really
few
good, yeah.
stones in the corner, so
So
something at least to think
it does
about,
get pretty
right?
complicated, but what black usually does is black, like if there's some strength, it's such a different image that we have here with this step on the right. But if black has some strength in the area, then black can play something like this, and with the implied attack on white. And so now black can still cut through here, but will still, again, black will be playing moves like this, threatening the cut. And the real attack is that when black plays something underneath and is attacking the whole white.
The whole thing, yeah.
And so black's immediate object, if the play continues in this immediate area, black wants to play an extension here, but also wants to do something to strengthen this stone. And this is usually not so good. Like I showed some variations there, but most of the time it's very difficult for black to get the reward of capturing this. It takes a lot of doing, and then in the meanwhile white is getting a lot on the outside. And the way people handle that when it actually happens is it varies depending on the position. So sometimes white will just live in the corner, and sometimes white will be doing what I was showing, going for the outside.
But the idea is to make sure you have a plan for what you want to do.
And it's actually a pretty low percentage move for black to actually do that. It doesn't work out. White usually can find, like at the least, white can just live in the corner, and that's okay for white too. And there's a high probability that combination of moves like this and moves like this will give white a better result. And so it's usually bad for black to do that immediately. But like if black can do stuff like this and stuff like this and just put pressure on the white group, threatening the cut at any point. And so black can be going after the corner or cutting to go after white in the center, or playing something like this to go after the whole thing. So black has a lot of options there. And black is trying to play on both sides. And in doing that, a lot depends on who has a strong position in this corner. So that all changes when white is getting to be coming on the top here. It's just a question of black making a small life. And eventually white will have opportunities to attack these stones too. So look, in this area, white has a lot of good possibilities. But for the time being, white has to deal with these weak stones.
Right. Okay. Good question, Phil. Thank you. And we've got folks from down under watching. Greetings for our Australian viewers. Mm-hmm. And there's a Go Congress coming up there.
Oh yes, there's an Australian Go Congress. I heard of it. Yes.
Yeah, and we did a story on it. Well, just search Australian Go Congress on the AGA website, but it's there. Go if you're anywhere near there. Go. Go Congresses are always fun. They're happening everywhere. They're popping up. There's one in Japan. There's one in China, Latin America. I think there was one in Mexico last year, and I want to say Argentina or something. We write so many stories in the Ejournal, I forget. But anyway, they're popping up all over the place. So there we go. Thank you, Asalan. Antigua, Guatemala. I really wanted to go to that one. I don't speak Japanese, but I do speak just enough Spanish to get myself in trouble. But that would have been fun to go to. So anyway, one of these years. So yeah.
Someone's also asking about the extension on the bottom left of that game, on the bottom for black.
The extension for the bottom left.
So you said you played the AlphaGo move, which was
this one?
Space. Yeah, and he asked about a few different ones, H3, G4, and J3. So that'd be the Kasumi, the one space, and I think the two space. Like, what would you consider?
Look, all of those are locally they're reasonable moves, and they all depend on what's happening in the lower right corner. Like if black has a fairly strong, why don't we just? There's so many good questions about that area. I think I should start again.
We've got time here, and let's while he's doing that, actually, just jump back. Let's show the players because I love the look of these guys. They're both like right over the board. look at how intense they are.
Sometimes you see the hair coming.
Yeah, that gets right in there. Yeah. We need like an X-ray camera to go right through there. With Justin, because Justin's got that sort of brush cut thing going on there.
He's been more in the camera than that before. He likes to do that.
Yeah.
Like the lean and
well, you know.
Well, there are some pros who are like that. Like
really?
They cover the board.
Yeah.
So
actually, before you get, I know you're
but
quick question because you've been doing broadcasts in Japan for many years.
Oh yes.
Those going back to earlier in your career, right?
There was a period when
more golf zones on the floor here before you get done today.
That's interesting.
A little stone control problem.
I talked about NHK.
You did.
And actually, they have a channel where they were doing live broadcasts of the three big titles, and so it was a satellite channel, and so they had these broadcasts of the three big titles, and I would do some of the commentaries. And so you had a real, and obviously you had a live feed of the game being played. So I'm just seeing that a lot. And that was a long time ago. So I was doing a lot of live commentaries. They're exciting because there is a lot of issues with time. Like things happen in the game, and you have to be on your toes because sometimes you just have to change plans very quickly when it's live.
Cool. So good. That's why we have Michael here because he's experienced with this kind of stuff. So all right, let's go ahead and show folks some of the
Okay, so this is the position, and it's black's turn. Well, for instance, like if we had a fairly strong shape for black in the lower right, like this, black would feel fairly. So the problem with this move, it's the strongest move. It's been a joseki for a long time. The problem with it that white has plenty of space to come in here. So for instance, let's just turn this around to give a good example for white. White plays the pressing move here, and we have white play something like this. This is actually something that I have looked at the computer assessments because it's an opening that I play a lot, or I used to play a lot at least, and I played it recently. This gives a good assessment for white. It gives white a lead. Black will be coming out here. White can peep once. And white has options here, like this would be the most normal looking move, and black would extend. And white would be able to sort of attack black in this general area and get a nice territory here. And black still doesn't have much of a threat against white. So this is supposed to be good for white, and I like it for white. The other way white can handle it is white. It's a really interesting move that I like. Is I like white to connect here to start with,
right?
And then when black plays if black plays something like that, then it's okay for white to play this move. And white has forcing moves like this that threaten the cut.
Right.
And so this move, as far as settling the black route, it's not 100%. It's a compromise between black trying to attack white and trying to make a base. It's not really accomplishing both of them. So if black plays here, black is getting a nice base. But now white's going to peep here underneath. And if black covers here, white gets a forcing move from this side.
Nice.
If black connects, then white can come here. And now white has a strong move that attacks black here. So I sort of like white starting with the connection here, because if black plays the loose move like this, now white can squeeze back black just a little bit more and get a good shape from outside. And then this would be alive, but white would have the offensive on the outside. And so there's all these problems with this black group being eyeless when white gets to play this move.
Right.
So then we'd say, well, white actually plays this after black has chosen an extension. But say black plays something like this.
Okay.
Now the idea of cutting here is more distance, because at any point white can play this forcing move and get a connected shape.
Fix it, right.
And so white gets to go on the offensive here with one of these pincers.
Yeah.
And in this opening, you usually have a white stone in this upper left corner. It's going to be good for white to have that attack going. And so I sort of like this for white. And so in this position, this is the position where I actually played this move. So it was in this, it's the opposite direction. Black's 3-4 point is in the opposite direction than it was in the game. But this is a compromise between this move, because in this move, white will at some point get this forcing move and be able to attack on that side. I'm still leaving the potential to cut here. And this was originally played by AlphaGo and its self-played series. So we've actually done some videos on games with this move. And when white does, if white does protect in this fashion, then black has very good shape. And we saw white playing this move, but it's actually, AlphaGo didn't crawl, but I think it's good for black to crawl here and play the knight's move. And it's difficult for white to make this work also. So I don't have a solution for that. And I don't think the computer programs really satisfied me. And we can't ask AlphaGo what it was going to do. Yeah, because AlphaGo isn't answering our questions. So we don't know.
Well, actually, and it's worth. We talked about this at. We went to lunch with Joe Cahalan, one of the crew folks, and we were talking about this very problem. He was asking about what's going on, what's the next big thing happening with AI, and clearly there's it's a very much of a transitional period, lots of things happening. And part of the frustration, and you've discussed this a lot in our videos, is understanding what's going on with the AIs is when it makes it hard, right? Even if you do get a little peep under the hood, it certainly can't talk to us, right? So you have to kind of understand it. At the Go Congress, when we were looking at the Facebook AI, they don't have an interface right now that you really need to sort of be one of the programmers to understand what it's talking about. So I think my sense is that that's part of what you're talking about, is that you're not satisfied with because you've been unpacking the AI for a couple of years now.
It's sort of interesting for me to try to work it out, try to figure out what my reasons would be to play these moves that AlphaGo played.
Right.
But it takes a lot of work for me to figure out what I would do. And it's still not necessarily what AlphaGo
and you're not satisfied that you actually...
I don't really know. But what I really need is what I'm going to do. But that's something that would be sort of impossible for most amateur players to figure out.
Right.
So we need some answers to those questions for people who are trying to learn something from the AIs. And AIs aren't really set up, especially when they're doing it with a neural network. It just comes up out of nowhere, the answer, and it can't tell you why.
Well, we talked about this in the talk last night on AlphaGo, which is that this is already starting to happen. People will say, "Well, Leela says," or Zen says,
and then why? No one knows why.
Right.
And so I have my own reasons for maybe why, and that's good enough for me because I need that. That's the reason I need to be able to play such a move.
Right.
But it's not good enough for someone who's trying to learn from the program and doesn't have the ability to get their own answer, which is the usual case. Yeah.
Cool.
So just to give you a glance
sure.
of what happened in my game was I just took White's eyes away, and it was something like this. And so I was developing on the left side here, and we had this big fight here, and I lived on the side, and I sort of broke through and chased White for a bit, and White was getting a lot here, and I got a position in the center court. It was really exciting. Maybe I should do a commentary.
Yeah, let's do that.
You
guys think we should do that? Yes. Vote.
I was thinking of doing one that I lost because I start to brag when I do a game that I won. But yeah.
It's okay. People don't mind.
And so there's all these moves. The 3-space extension, White's going to invade immediately, and it's not working so well. And so it's a very difficult choice that Black has. But as you can see, if Black does get, these are sort of key points where Black is trying to surround the whole thing and eventually take the eyes away with this. So, and there's also the fact that sometimes Black can get a ko here to take away White's eyes, but that is pretty dangerous for Black too, because Black's going to lose a lot on the left side. I haven't seen this move work very well for Black in actual professional games.
Yeah,
they don't usually do that. It doesn't go that far.
Cahalan has a really good question, I think, is saying that before the AIs, pros seem to strongly dislike the double approach. So first of all, is that
from White's point of view, allowing the double approach?
Right. Is that the case?
That is the case, and it was changed by the way. This approach move towards the 3-4 point, combined with the pressing move, created all these problems for Black. For instance, in this case where Black plays the Kosumi here, it turned out people would always play this move at that point. And this would still give Black some room to live in a pinch, like with moves like this or this. This move turned out to be so much more effective, as far as we know at this point. Black doesn't have eye space, and in running out, White's going to get a nice move. And so this move was sort of, it seems to be a strange place to play, like you'd want to get crunch up a bit closer or play on the fourth line, but this is actually more effective in taking away Black's eye space. And so this was a kind of a new discovery that we had from the AI games. And so this move has become it's a move that Black will still play if Black has a bit more strength in the general area, especially the lower right area. But this move I like to play. AlphaGo played it about in three games, I think, the 50 games that they showed. It hasn't really caught on, but this is a move that I'm willing to try. And I won that game when I played it, so it's good.
So you really like it.
Yeah, I like it even more now.
All right, should we catch up with the game?
Good idea. So Black pincered and White played this one. So this is really, there's a lot of complications that I haven't even gone into, so I'll just leave it there. I think Black just wants to. But this is sort of a painful shape for White when Black gets the Hane underneath. So this is already playable for Black. It's already probably pretty good for Black. But I think, as I said before, I think this is a point where White should be trying to...
I love this move. This is very sharp.
Play a more forceful move so that White can get on top of Black here.
Yeah.
And that would change what happens on this side.
It really just has. So this move is just, not happy with that move. Not happy. Have a little chat with Justin afterwards.
Justin is White.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So here, then here, and White played here, Black played a hane. White pushed through it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, actually, black had a number of ways that black could have tried to handle this. Like, black could have played covering move here. And white cannot really continue. So white would, for instance, if white plays straight down, trying to stop black from connecting into black can play here. White plays here. And black is going to cut here and curl a few times. And you can see that white's position is not so good. White has all these weaknesses. For instance, on this side, white's already dead, and white's losing the semi here. So it's not good enough for white to get profit in the corner. So that black could have done that. And if white cuts the one stone off, then black can just connect under. And although this is a connection on the first line, it's not as bad as you might think, because it comes with an Atari, and black is perfectly connected, and black will be able to connect up to the corner. Black has a kind of almost an eye there. It's not an eye yet, but it's good enough that white won't be able to get a squeeze here. And you can see white doesn't have any eyes at all. It's just a dumpling shape. So black could have done that. But the game move is also feasible. Black connected here. White played the double hane. And still black can win the semi if black cuts here. And if white connects, then black can still capture these 3 stones. So that's something that actually black could have done. This was an option. Maybe he was afraid of the squeeze. And then here. This looks like it could be a bit dangerous for black when white curls around it. It's going to be a semi. It looks dangerous for black. So maybe that's not so good. So what black did do is black pushed through here, and it was a trade. That looks like it's it's okay for black, because black is getting a lot of territory.
Sure.
But since it started being it was a difficult position for white to start with, and white is getting stuff on both sides. Maybe it's playable.
This is following the game from the last one with Jonathan Hopp. This is a good example of a strategy that might have worked better for him if he'd have been a little less attached to his stones. I like white's swap off here.
Yeah, this was probably a pretty important point. It would have been more normal just to extend here. Not bad for white, but white's trying to take away black's eye space. Black has a very nice. Oh, white played away first? Okay.
He said dubiously.
That's not bad. This is sort of forcing. White can even cover here. He did, yeah. And how did black handle that? Pushed up, yeah. This makes sense, actually, the play here. And then black can add a stone to the corner. That's a very cautious. Black could have done the one space jump.
Right.
But it's a very, probably a slight loss in that knight's move, yeah. And white probably played him now. We should check.
Actually, peep first.
Peep first. Black connected. White peeped again, I suppose.
Getting a little bit of a net lag here. Yeah, another one.
Those peeps were not necessarily good moves, but that's okay. It's
not
hard to say.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes white could have forced with a different move, for instance, like this, and potential wedges here could have been changing what black does, but it does take a lot of moves to get there. So peeping is another way to handle this kind. So it's okay, although it's not necessarily good. And then white played here.
Yeah.
So this is a point where I think white should have just extended.
Really?
And if black plays here, then of course white can get a cut from here. So there's an added a bonus here for white to get the cut here and have the option of capturing that black stone. White will obviously start from this side, attacking first. But all of white's stones are relatively easy to connect now. Otherwise, if black plays something like this, there's still the issue of the cut here when black tries to cut, and there's trouble on this side too. So like now white could play here. If black tries to cut, there's all sorts of problems. Like there's there's this move also, in which white can play this move and cut the one stone. But white would actually start with this side and would be getting a lot on the outside, even if white sacrifices these stones. So that would be playable for white, in my opinion.
This is a little tricky for black.
This is, I think this is the correct move, but it is okay for white when white gets to push through and cut. And the problem with this move is white hasn't established the profit yet. White needs to play one more move to get this territory.
Right.
So it's what you call the double susuaki.
Ooh, you have to do the double what
open,
now?
It was open anyway.
Open skirted.
Yeah, it was open skirt. Yeah. So that was open skirt shape where it's just open underneath here. Maybe you might say it's an unusual way. It's open underneath here, so it's not really worth playing this move because it becomes wasted if black gets to this point later.
So we were talking about this, folks. Earlier we talked about the Redmond Random Encyclopedia of Go, and we'll do things like that because one of the cool things about Japanese Go terms is that they're really, besides the fact that they're cool and you can use them, but they're meaningful, right? Like if you know that there's such a thing as open skirted, right? That's a thing.
You sure we're okay with that word? Yeah, it's a kind of a dangerous ground.
Okay, all right. We may need to. We'll have to have an advisory committee.
There's a lot better words that are similar to
I just liked it. I'm glad you used it.
But this is also a key point: is setting up the
this
cut
is a nice
here,
shape for
putting pressure on white in general.
Right.
White plays attachment. This is a point where black might be thinking of playing the honey here to sacrifice these stones, or to push against white, bump against white, and fight it out. So black has both options.
Oh, I think we may.
So it's black's turn here.
We may have caught.
So we've caught up. Good.
I think.
Well, this move in itself, it sort of settles the black group because, for instance, black has a pushing move here, which means that when black clasps the one white stone here, black will be able to sort of capture it because running away is really bad for white because white gets cut off. So that, and also the fact that when black pushes here in itself, it's trouble for white because if white pulls back here, then black will get this move in with sente. It's going to be forcing because black's certainly
Right.
If white plays here, then black is getting more eye space. And so white even has a headache when white has to answer this move.
Does that mean that this is a problem?
Well, it's not as big as it has some negative aspects that make it smaller than it looks like.
This is why you didn't want to do this.
That's why white should have played on this side.
Want to play here.
It's another reason. Like it doesn't make it a bad move in itself, but it makes it less valuable than white might have thought it was.
So you're also saying that you don't mind if black goes.
The idea is to
way.
allow black to live. Black's alive anyway when black plays here. And the problem is that black has potential to be attacking white. Is the big problem. So black played here a very solid move. Like I would be tempted to play here, and actually the way white captures this black group is not going to be easy because if white cuts here, black can still save the stones by connecting underneath. Just like that, and it's no problem. So if white plays here, now there's a lot of bad aji. So after black plays something like this, black still has moves like this which threaten to cut here and can save the black stones. Black already has a very resilient shape here which is not going to die easily. And if you look at the big picture, even if white adds a stone here to prevent that, now black is going to be able to attack the whole white group here. It's weak. It's not strong.
Really.
And so black can afford to give up these stones. So that's the first thing I would think of. But pulling back here is also a feasible move because black is looking at the potential attack against this white group. So white's normal move would be to pull back here. And black probably wants to add a stone to that group like here, making it completely alive. And you might notice it's taking away white's eye space, so it's making this a stronger move. So white has a lot of cutting points to worry about here. So that's why black is sort of very attached to these stones because there's some attacking potential.
Well, and you can wind up with a double attack against these two groups.
So I'm going to say this is. I'm even more confident this is bad.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
White is sort of being put under pressure.
It's the wrong direction.
In the whole general
area. Just switch them. Just putting this here. Look at how everything is working.
They're more or less connected. Especially if we assume that black plays here and white gets play this. And
oh, even better. That's right.
Because then everything's
no worries at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You agree?
I do agree.
Yeah. So
this is
what they call it's very good shape for black.
It is.
And there's really no good follow-up. Even if white plays something like this, black can push through here. And
there's no way to fix it easily, is it?
Yeah. So any way that white can try to encircle this is going to involve probably sacrificing this stone. And black has plenty of ice space.
This is a hard. I think this is a little hard to see.
It's such great shape for black. It's just something that you
when
have
you do
to
that,
sort of,
it becomes easy to see.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing how good black shape is, but otherwise it just seems slow. But also just seeing, looking at all of this.
So white played this move.
Look at that! Look at the Kasumi here.
Black played the Kasumi, so you saw. Yeah. So white plays. Black will capture the white group next. So you might think white wants to play here or something. Black could probably play something like this and maybe have.
Well, how big is this at this point?
It's big. White could afford to lose it. But this isn't really going to accomplish very much when black plays it. White doesn't have any good way to connect the one stone. White might play a hanging connection, sort of invite a ko. It's not really an important move. So I don't understand this on it. And white doesn't really want to take black's eyes from this direction because it's going to induce black to move into the side territory that white wanted to make. Just like even if white plays that, if we assume this move, white's not even alive in the corner yet. And black is moving towards where white wanted to make territory. So white doesn't really want to play that forcing move. It would be better for white to play this and sort of sacrifice these stones.
That's why I was asking the question, because that's sort of what I'm feeling now. I just really don't.
It's
I don't see any way to play here in anything other than gote. There's no sente play for white there, is there?
No. Well, it's gone after this.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, after this, and this is another reason, by the way, that this. So nice for white. Okay, all right.
Nice, okay, so let's take another look at the territory, because this is a game where black has territory and white has potential. So it's all that area in the upper left is potential moyo for white.
Sure. Look at all these white stones.
Yeah.
Big framework.
So black has less than 50 points, more than 45 points.
But they're all those 10 stones.
Let's be a bit more exact. And white does have these forcing moves here. And so we're going to call it this position. So in the captured zone, that's 18 points. So it's 44 points.
44 for black?
Yeah, in
that corner, right?
And counting it with this border.
Sure.
So that's
44,
about 60 points.
60 points, right?
Yeah.
60,
and we don't need anything more exact.
White has 6.
6 points. And nothing really, So white needs about 50 more points. But white has this corner, and if white plays a move on the side somewhere, maybe somewhere around here, white would probably want, this would be good for the corner.
Is this too far? Is it too far?
Maybe get too far away from that. I think maybe a side move. White has potential towards the center too. So
it's almost if you wouldn't mind black to go into the corner just.
And that black group can still get into trouble.
Right.
So if white plays a move there, it's going to be more than 30 points, and it will be an attack on black that can develop into something else when black does invade. And like if black doesn't do anything, that's going to be more than 40 points.
No, black has to do something.
50 points.
Right.
So it's conceivable that white can get a close game, provided white handles. Like if white had played this extension, it would have been a very close game, maybe good for white.
What is all this stuff going on the left here? I don't.
Well, you see, White's has an awkward shape, and White's trying to fix it. It's not really a good way to be going about it, but White's trying to fix this awkward shape that White has.
So I just have to issue my usual warning here. I see Keith, the game recorder, has just so White is now in Biyoyomi or overtime, and Black is down to 4 minutes. This is interesting. So normally, as I pointed out earlier, the first round when Yuan was playing, and he wound up losing the game, and I think arguably because of probably because of time trouble. Mm-hmm. You know, certainly he was under time pressure,
and he did mess up.
And he made several mistakes in the end game. And I think it was because of time. Interestingly, it looks to me like Yuan is Black. Yeah, Yuan is actually ahead on time, and that is what Yuan. So Yuan has two things going for him at this point. Mm-hmm. He's got the cash, and he's ahead on time.
Yeah.
So if he can stay out of trouble, both time-wise and on the board, and not get himself involved in some complicated adventure, this should be a good game for him.
That's probably impossible. Go as an adventure, though. Yeah.
I mean, just saying. I mean, it's when I get worried with his games is when he's either behind or in a tight match and he's short on time.
So here you see Black got to play the first move towards that moyo. It means it's going to.
That's a nice move, right?
It's going to be difficult for White to get that large amount of territory.
And I missed. I'm sorry. How did I thought White was going to get Sente here?
So White was doing this stuff. White would have gotten Sente if White had played this way, but because White played this way,
we already granted that's the best move.
I can say it as many times as I
want. Because it's just a good move.
And so White ended up.
It just sticks out to you, by the way. But as a pro, though, seriously, as a pro, I've seen you'll put the move back where it should be, even though that's not where they played it, because it's in your mind, that's where it should be. We just solve all the problems. So this is so much
happier. So White had the problem that this group, if Black plays here, it's not alive, and Black will probably start with moves like this, which make it even more difficult for White. So White's going to have trouble connecting this group with these stones.
Sure.
It looks like you might get close, but being close is actually more dangerous because when you get cut off right next to each other, that's very severe to both sides.
Right.
And so Black actually has potential to attack here. Both of these White.
Which is what this was about.
That's what this move was about. So White really needs some kind of reinforcement here.
But does this do it?
And this settles the problem on the top. So like if Black comes this way, and then this way, for instance, White has a stone here, which will make it possible for everything to connect up somewhere around here.
Right.
So this is, for instance, we could have Black play here and try to cut White off. White plays here. You can see that this is going to end up connecting. Yeah, I know what happened.
Okay.
So just an example of how Black can fail in trying to cut White off. And if Black plays on the outside, now these stones are connected up to this point, so White can just live on the side. And you might notice that the corner group is not safe, not necessarily allowed, but that's not a big issue anymore. Like it's just about 20 points. 20 points, no big deal.
I was just trying to figure out how White could get Sente over there, but it looks impossible.
Not after Black played this one.
Okay.
Right. So White
all right, we'll catch
here.
up now. Thanks,
White
folks.
And now this is a point that's really interesting. It depends on the ladder. And the ladder... okay, the ladder favors White. Good. So that's why White played this way. And in this position, when the ladder favors White, sometimes Black plays here immediately. And the value of this move is that if White goes after that stone, then Black gets to escape with a double Atari and a real great shape on the outside. So this would be good for Black. So what happened in the game, what usually happens is Black wants to cut here once. So in this case, if white plays here and black plays here, then we're going to get something that a lot of the Don players at least will sort of recognize, that black has this living shape in the corner, and this stone here creates a bit of aji for black to attack white later. So this is very common. So what happened with this move that white has to do, this depends on a ladder being favorable for white, but when black plays here, white, after having played this move, the value of this white stone is decreased. So white can actually make this trade that we're seeing happening in the actual game. And the difference here between having black capture like this and having white played this Atarian hanging connection and having black capture like this, there's a huge difference there because black has a bad shape and no eyes. So what's the ladder I was talking about? You probably don't know, but it's really interesting. There's a neat tsuji that black can play at this point. Instead of cutting, if black can play here.
I saw it. I didn't read it. I just, but it's complicated, right?
It's complicated. Well, the ladder is when white cuts here and black actually escapes. And you see that white doesn't have any real chance to go after the cornerstone because black would just cut and it's just disaster on the outside.
Wow.
So white really has to be able to capture these two stones in the ladder. And these peeps that white played earlier are going to make that possible. So this ladder is going to go right straight into this stone, and white's going to capture. So that was, you might say, well planned.
Using the
so
peeps nicely.
These forcing moves were working well for white in this case. And so another variation is white plays here, black plays here. It looks dangerous for black. But in this case, again, black can actually extend here. And this is sort of playable for black. It's a completely different fight. But white doesn't really have time. This would be a trade. This would be a trade in which black is getting this outside position. And white has to add a stone to the corner. So there's all these various ways that black can handle it.
Lord.
And in this game, actually, this variation would be feasible for white too. White would just add a stone to the corner. And it's feasible because this whole area is in low in value anyway, because it wasn't much white territory. So this would be maybe an even zone. But there's these things that black could have done if the ladder was good, but they don't work if the ladder is bad. And so to get back to this move that I suggested, when black plays this attachment first, white doesn't have the option of playing that hane, because now black will cut and get the double Atari very good shape on her side. So if white plays here, then black can cut. And now it's no problem for black, because now black gets to play down here, and there's none of that trouble that we were seeing before. So what white does is white probably is going to play here, and then black lives in the corner, maybe with this kind of sequence. Completely different, but I guess it could be called Joseki. White has a choice here of going after two stones in the corner and giving black the side, or playing on this side, which would allow black to live in the corner, like this. Or extending. Extending is sort of in between, and black would still have to want to add a stone into the corner. So this is one way black could have avoided the fight that is starting in the game. It's a fight that is a bit worrying for black, because black does have a nihilist group there. But this is being played in a lot of professional games, so it's not decisive. There's a way for black to handle it too. So black jumped out here, white peeped, black played the kosumi. That's a nice move. White's trying to attack very strongly here.
And making some
it's not going to be a big territory. Right. White's going to have a lot of trouble catching up in territory in this game, because, as I said, I was counting this as 44 points. And black has territory here and here. That's already, it's more than 50 points. And then 10 points here, so black has 60, more than 60 points. More than 60. White's territory, you can't really count any territory still. White will probably get about 20 points here. Even if white gets a large area of this, it's going to be something like 30 points. White's corner territory is not very big. Maybe. So black's way ahead in territories. Like, I've run out of places to count for white. And So white has to really attack very, very strongly.
Right, but
white played. This is also a strong attack. This Hane here might have been an overplay by black. There's no reason to playing that move at this point. Black wants to play it when black can actually connect up. When black plays here, this is adding momentum to the local fight. It means like if, for instance, black does something like this, and something like this happens, there's a real possibility that that black group on the upper side is going to die. Like if black does stuff like this and counterattacks like this, locally these are all good moves, but already that black group is dead. And that would give white something like 50 points in that block of territory already, and make the game pretty close. So black started this from the wrong side, and this Hane white played is reasonable. Now black is trying to push through first. He's trying to create a shape in which he can connect up to this stone. So he played that one move, but he's not going to continue with it. White will probably want to do something strongly like this, so it could get.
That's the game move.
Yes. Yeah. Good.
Because I'm agreeing with your assessment here. I mean, something's got to happen for Justin here, or it's just not happening. There's just no.
Black has more than 60 points.
And those are, I mean, that's just cash territory.
Cash. It's not going to go away.
I don't think this is going to be like one of those AlphaGo games when there's all of a sudden big swapsies.
Black is playing a dangerous sequence. We'll see how he handles it.
I believe they're both in. Yuan. Well, I'm gonna just say it. Yuan's down to 4 periods. This is the difficult time, and I will say, having seen Yuan and Justin both play, Justin's got like ice water in his veins, But yeah, if it gets complicated and there's time trouble. Because board position is Yuan all the way, but he didn't. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is exactly what he didn't want to get into, right? He doesn't want to be worrying about a group in time trouble. He wants something. You're a real simple move.
He's playing very sharply.
But that's what Yuan is going to play the correct move, right?
One way or the other is going to be a quick resolution. It's not going to be a lengthy.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so black played the Hane here. We can see black is trying to set something up here, and now I have an idea of what it's going to look like.
Tell us.
So it's like this, and so just to go back to this position, if black connects here, and white plays here, black plays here, it's actually a ko, but we can see that black is getting cut off. This ko is going to be pretty desperate. Black needs a really huge ko threat because the loss in the immediate area is going to be pretty bad. So this looks like it would be at least dangerous for black, or worrying. And actually, in this ko, white would have ko threats like this or like this. Ko threats that are in this area would be really big, and
that's the advantage of having sack days or
when you have a dead group, you have a lot of ko threats. And so this is dangerous. So black is trying to change that equation by getting some extra stones in this. So when black plays here, white cuts. So very natural sequence here. And so they've gotten this far. And black is thinking of, white connected. And it's probably better to have the stone on the outside. But white's trying to get us an extra point or two. And this one's here. And so when black connects and white plays here, it's slightly different now, because black can get a Ponuki in the center and probably just sacrifice these 2 stones. There's a variation where black can try running away also. Even if black just does this, it'll be a lot easier for black to escape in the center. In fact, it's more or less connected now. So this would be a relatively peaceful variation.
Which doesn't work for...
It's probably good enough for black, Instead, black played this move, and white played an Atari. And of course, it's pretty soon white wants to add a stone here, for instance, like this. which would be a nice move. It'd be good shape. Black pulls back, and white can take this stone. So locally, this is as good as white can sort of hope for. It's a pretty good exchange. Black will be able to save
the game go. This is not the game move.
Here, very little meaning to that move.
Well, no, it's threatening the cut.
But you see, okay, just to give an extreme example, in a case where we have something like this happen, sometimes white's going to want to have an eye here, right? When white, for instance, like this, and white plays here, there's a big difference depending on whether white has an eye here or not. If it's a false eye like this, the whole white group is in danger. So, in such a case, white would want to force with this move. And white would have an eye here.
Right.
Yeah. So this move, why would white play it? There's no necessity to play that. It's wasted.
Hurt himself, right.
Yeah. Sometimes white wants to do it. Sometimes white wants to do this one. White doesn't have to decide at this point. So it's no reason to play. Sometimes if we have a shape like this and white has a stone forcing move here, sometimes white will be forcing it with a move like this. Sometimes it's this move that white uses. White has all sorts of moves to choose from. And no reason at all to choose this move at this time. It's not necessary. And it has a potential negative effect, which probably won't come into happening in this game, but it is there. There's a possibility of a negative effect. And it's actually, at the very least, compared to this is actually 1 point better in territory too.
Okay.
There's 1 point extra territory. So white did play the Atari here. And took. So that makes sense. That's okay. That's just he's
Time Suji.
well, black's about to play the Atari here. So he figures it's good to have this in first. And usually it would be a really important good forcing move. But since this area is probably going to turn into white's territory anyway, it might not have any direct effect on the game. Yeah, black does have to add a stone here. And white has an opportunity at this point to surround that territory. Like white could play a forcing move here. Double 4 points, double Sente. And then something like this would be white's best local move, I suppose. And that's 34 points. 34. So it's about 40 points in all. About 40 points in all. Then that's about 50 points, and a little bit more. Black has 44 points, so 50. So black has a small lead. It's not a big lead anymore. But you can see that black will have some attacking going on after that. And we haven't really settled the problem with these stones either. So black does have a small lead. I think black made some. Just the fact that black ended up with this floating group that is not alive, it was a mistake. But maybe it didn't give the game away yet.
But it's made it closer.
Yes. Yeah. And black didn't play this Atari. Black should have played the Atari before saving the group.
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether white connects or white plays a ko.
Right.
If white plays a ko, it's going to be an easy ko for black. Black can just fight the ko while saving the group. It doesn't matter. So white peeped. This looks very much like an overplay. Black will just answer on this side. What black connected?
Yeah.
There's a little something there.
There's a little something there. I was looking at this.
Oh yeah, that one.
I sort of doubt
that's going to do any good. Let's see. I didn't think that through very carefully. This is something that could happen. White could combine it with moves like this. Yeah, maybe that's what he was afraid of. Okay. So white does get some potential to attack here. White has to attack. White's slightly behind in territory. So, but this is not. It's not a serious thing for black, I don't think. White also played this move.
Yeah, I was wondering when that would come.
Black cut. That's a strong move. White probably has to play something like this, or like this one. I guess this would be okay. But the problem is that this group is not so strong.
I've been a little worried about those guys, honestly.
Black can handle this fight.
Well, let me ask you, in attacking, is there some back benefit in this attack? I mean, could something come, or there's just no worries back here? I'm just trying to figure
It's hard
out.
to see how White can benefit. White would try to save this group in the process of attacking Black.
Sure.
So that could be an object.
But White needs
of course, White
points.
would like to capture the Black group.
Or
that
pick
would be
up
ideal.
Like 10 points somehow.
Well, there's not really any points in this area.
Yeah, I
There
know,
are
I know.
there's potential attacks against this group in the center, and not so much potential to surround on that side anymore. It's actually reduced a bit by Black's cut here. This is a move that Black had no need to play, and it's usually better left unplayed. Like if White cuts here at any point, Black can just play Notari and capture the 2 stones. So this is actually ideal for Black to be able to live that way. Even if Black loses 2 stones here, Black's already gotten the territory back and is alive, so that's good for Black. So there's no cut here, and so defending him against it was unnecessary. It's probably better left unplayed. So now maybe Black extends. White's not really connected here. It's a weak shape.
Yeah.
So like if White plays something like this, and Black plays something like this, White has to do something like this to connect. And you can see White's shape on the outside is very flimsy. So Black could, for instance, in this case, Black still has this kind of problem with White. Black can connect up from this side. Black has this forcing move threatening to cut here. Doesn't look like Black's going to have any trouble.
No, in fact, if anything, I think White has potential. White still got trouble here, so has trouble there.
Yeah, White needs to try to handle those problems in the process of sort of attacking Black. So White jumped here, and again Black will just curl around. There's no problem. This isn't looking good for White because Black is actually very easy for Black to connect up. Black's already connected. And the center here, again, White can actually conceivably go after those Black stones like this. And so that Black is connected here. Say White goes after that Black stone. It's actually a kind of a ladder situation. Because White really has to answer this move. And like Black can capture the 3 stones, but this side would be demolished. So that's no good for White. This Black group is already alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like it's working for Black. But it was completely different. What happened here? Oh, so this was wrong. White played this jump. Black played here. White played here. And again, Black's playing it, living dangerously. Let's see, how is this working? The natural move, Black has to play here. White's going to play here. So what is this? It looks stained. Oh, okay. Black played here.
So what?
Yeah, I guess I see what Black is trying to do. So if White plays the natural move here, and we have this, and this, and let's just have Black play here.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And so Black can cut White off. So that's good for Black. That's what Black is trying to aim at. White bumped against. So now Black's just going to come around. And this is okay too, because what's White going to do? Like Black could have played the Tari at any point, but it doesn't really need to. White has to bump against black, right? This just loses the
No.
So black connects. So what now? White has to stop this one. Black just comes through.
Oh man, white's so damn thin.
It's just destroyed. And white's going to have to go back here to save the group.
I know.
It's just bad. It's no hopeless.
White is collapsing. The air is going out of the balloon.
Oh, so white connected. So this isn't actually saving those stones in the center. I can just push through here. If he wants to be perfect, you can play it in target first. And that makes this a strong group.
Oh, for black?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more exact. It's more accurate.
Ooh. Guess what the next move is?
Why that's the connect? Oh, we're missing a stone. Oh, white push through. And now black can just capture these stones.
And game over, right?
That's good for black.
Just it.
Yeah.
It's just
there's no way for this to escape because this is forcing.
Mm-hmm.
So black has about almost 10 points. Well, actually, all these are captured stones.
It's not just the points, it's just that way. There's nothing.
44 points here. So that's 54. And this is alive now because black can capture or play the inside here.
Right.
Black's alive here too. So, yeah. 44, 54, 64, 70. More than 70 points. More than 70 points.
White has not that.
So white played here. White can add a stone here to make this territory. And would play the Hanetsugi here first. Somewhere around 50.
It's just not even close. Call me. 20-point call me.
So white took him back. Lived. So white's going to lose this. White, I sort of omitted this, but white will play this exchange, yeah. And then finish maybe play the end game move here. And then we'll have to play in the center.
Right here.
White played here. That's going to be forcing, but black could answer on this side. And so it's something like this anyway. And then maybe white will play the end game sequence here first. And then black will just connect them. Big difference. 45, 50, 65, almost 65. Let's see. Oh, yeah. 44, 45, 55, 60, 70. More than 70 points.
Yeah, so no, unless Yuan. I know Yuan is down to his last 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I'd say black is going to win by about 15 points before coming. Before
So it's a bit other one, 6.5, 7.5 points.
Yeah, something like that.
Good.
So
we can put on our jackets then so that we can look official when we do our wrap up. Oh. Oh, and I can tell people that. So this is when we're doing our AlphaGo commentaries. I always had one of these, and I don't think you could see it. I don't think the cameras were close enough. But these are. Is something going on?
Well, white's playing the same game. Black has to be careful to answer immediately,
right?
Instead of pushing through. Well, pushing through would be okay, but it allows complications when white plays here.
Ooh.
And that would be pretty dangerous. Like there could be a trade like this, but this would actually be a big game for white, even though black takes a lot on its heart.
Wow.
And if black answers this, then white actually has a ko here. So that would cause a lot of complications. It would be a dangerous ko for white too, but it would be a ko. So that would be, so black did answer immediately. And when white pushes through here, now black can play the fighting move, or the pushing move.
Yeah, but that's not it. Yeah.
Now it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So now white has to answer. Black can just play here. Or black can get fancy and play down here. It's the same thing. So that's how black is playing. It's playing correctly here.
Yep.
Sorry.
Here you go.
So black answered here and took. So white's finishing but white forgot to play the Hanetsugi there. For one move, black's going to answer this way.
If white goes under, black will play, right?
Yeah, that's double
That's
4 points.
big,
That's
yeah.
double 4 points for both sides. White does have the peep here, but it's not really a big. It's not really a big game. So white's forgotten to play that 4 point endgame. It's at least at the most 4 points. It's black might end up putting a stone in that territory in the end to make 2 eyes, but it's something like 4 points. It's almost 4 points.
Which is
It's double
significant.
It's really important.
He sounds so,
Black should be
he sounds so
jumping to play.
offended.
Yeah,
Come
terrible.
on, come on, let's go.
Yeah, black doesn't even have to play that one. Yeah, same thing. Play the 4 point move.
So I think we were still thinking it's still in the, what are we thinking, 7 points?
Probably a bit more if black plays that Hanetsugi on the first line. Let's just play that and recount. He didn't play it. It's hard to believe that he wouldn't play that double Hane. Wow. Okay, and now this move that black did play is a huge move. This connection underneath, because white actually has a problem here with all sorts of weaknesses in white's shape. Like, first of all, if black connects here, it's going to be a ko. Black has to be careful too, because there's a weakness in this. So black might end up losing this ko and just allowing white to connect. But after that, after this connection, that sets up this move, which captures the 3 stones.
Oh, gosh.
That's an extra 10 points almost.
Yes.
So there's that. And there's the fact that if white handles that by, for instance, playing this move, now black still has the aji of this move, because there's this forcing move here. And so moves like this, which are really big moves, will be forcing for black. So there's a lot of potential for black to get some extra out of it. Oh. And white actually played here. And so black got to play that Hanetsugi, which was sente for white also, 4 point move. And got to play it first. So much for that, yeah. It was really weird that they both missed that move, which was such an easy move.
Oh, the chat is having fun with strictly double sente and infinite value. It's good.
Did I say infinite?
I don't think so. I think they're
chat
just having fun with it.
And it's just bigger than anything else.
It's just
double
huge.
sente.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, in a way you could say infinite. Yeah. It doesn't matter. White connected. Oh, white played here.
Yeah.
Wow. And black could have taken the one stone. I think this would have been better.
Someone said it's actually serious because in a certain way of counting, you would divide by 0 or something. So that's what they're suggesting. I'm kind of stumped by it too.
That's a whole. You want to get Michael started on Yosei? He can do a whole lesson on Yosei.
It's just an estimate anyway.
Right.
I can show you a nice end game. You have to be able to read the Yosei to be able to profit from it. For instance, black can probably get a little extra on the side here. Let's see what's.
Well, he's doing this. He's doing it. It's just.
Yeah, it's okay to play that move. There's a little squeeze here that gains a little bit for black. Black can play here and play the Hane. This is probably just a very small game, like 1 point, because white does get the cutting stone here. But it'll take 2 more moves for white to finish that one off. So yeah, this is a gain of theoretically just 1 point, so it's a slight gain for black. What's with the Hane?
It's actually connected.
Oh, we connected? Okay, good. And so let's see. The next big move would be to connect here. This is really big. Still big. And it still sets up trouble for white there. White would answer on this side, but it's not 100.
It's going to cost him.
It could cost white an extra move in the vicinity. So this is in itself, it's 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, I should just play it over there in the corner, which is.
Where? Oh, well, that's a big move. That is also a big move. It's about 6 points in itself, with some extra potential. He's gotten rid of the potential of being forced to put a stone into that territory. So it's more than 6 points. And this move white plays is pretty big too, but. Yeah, black just plays here. It's not going to be good enough to win the game for white. Oh, yeah, white connected. And without probably answers.
Oh no! Y'all are talking about quantum go. Come on, make our heads explode. You still want the connect, right? Is it still? What?
Well, white hasn't played this move yet, and so it's
not the biggest one.
So white is sort of white's choice. This is a pretty big move too. That's more like 8 or 9 points. So that's the bigger move. But black has already played this one. White puts through. This isn't such a big move. This is just a few points. So saving this one stone here by connecting up to the side is probably the biggest move now.
That's actually really big.
Yeah. Yeah, well, black played this one. So this is sort of already trouble for white. White has to do something. White takes. And black can just answer this on this side, it's no problem. And allow white to connect up. And it's not really connected up yet, but yeah. And then white will play here and fight the ko, but you see, still white's not really alive. So it is sort of troublesome for white. And also when black pushes through here and then takes the 1 stone, there's a lot of force in the second taking of the ko being a sente move. So it's just a lot of bad facts for white. That is, it's just a bad situation.
Another technical. Whoa. Okay, all right, that's big. I played your seal off move.
Yeah, this is big. That was the biggest move. And so, can black kill white? There's gonna be a ko involved. For instance, maybe it's good for black to bump against here. Oh, he allowed white to play.
Just take the ko back.
He took the ko back. That wasn't the best move.
Yeah, this is better, yeah.
Yeah, this is better because it takes away white's eyes. And if white connects here, then there's this move that's about 10 points.
I love that.
And so white would have
cool.
to save those 3 stones, and then it would be a ko with the extra value of this. So when black immediately takes the ko, this allows white to play here, and this is going to be a ko. Maybe black's going to have to back out of the ko, in which case white gets to make a living state. White could even play strongly like this. And so black's giving a lot of points away. Still maybe can capture 3 stones, but it's not as effective.
Right.
This move in itself is pretty big.
Ruh-roh. I think that's 10 points.
Oh, so black just pushed through here.
Yeah, and that's...
So what does he want to do? He wants to take those 3 stones. You see, he's giving a lot back in this case, so it's not as much profit as you might think.
Because it's this minus this.
Mm-hmm.
This is maybe not the best play,
it's
right?
It's not the best play. He's fighting the ko. Oh, this ko. Yeah.
Well, if I can just remind you of the first game today.
Yeah.
Just don't want to say I told you so, but...
Well, he played a ko threat. It doesn't matter which ko he takes. There's just a ko where he didn't need a ko threat, and then the ko where he does need a ko threat. But if he plays a ko threat, then it's a legal move. And white just finished it. Well, so white is not lost in this trade. Even though white's going to lose a lot of stones in the center of the board, it was probably a profitable trade for white.
No. What I was saying was that this was the point at which Yuan, who had a 1 game, made several mistakes in the Yosei.
He's still going to win the game.
Yeah. No, it is completely different because there's just there's not any. I mean, this is like insurance right here.
Where did black just play?
Here.
Oh, that was small.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't, like black could have gotten away with playing this side and would have good object. Black probably wants to play that move just to finish that off. Be interesting to see if white tries anything in this corner, because white does have this forcing move. And so that's a big move. Let's see, I once calculated that. 2 points for white, or but it's different because all of these could become eyes. So that's about the same size as white's move here in the center. So it's a big move. It's 8 or 9 points.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. So what are they? Black cut here, and this was the wrong way to play the ko. Black should have pushed through here.
Yep.
And then just taken in with an atari. Yeah. So that was the wrong way to play the ko.
Yeah,
but it's okay if black has no
this is where my 7 dan reading comes out.
So black used this. Black does have some coverts, so it looks like it can still work for black.
Right.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'll take another count, I guess. But I'm feeling that it's good for black still. Oh, black played here.
I think
White played this one. Now, we're missing moves. When did white play cover here?
Yeah, sorry. There. Connect. So after this, connected.
White's already played the move on the second line.
Where did we miss that? Oh, I see. Okay.
Go back further.
After that connect. After that connect.
So white pushed
Sorry, folks.
here.
My bad.
Black connected, and white covered on the second line.
There.
Where did black then play? Black cut, and then white took. So we started having this call, okay.
Right.
And so finally white connects the call, and black is going to play here. White cover. So that was white's profit a little bit. And we probably should recount it.
Yeah.
Black has made some mistakes.
And black
cut the 3 stones. In the process of capturing those 3 stones, black didn't make that much mileage otherwise, but I suspect it's still good for black. Black has 13 points here. Black has 45 here. This is 21. So it's 21, 66, 79, and then 4 points here.
I thought you already counted that one.
Okay, this is
48.
10, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 32, 4, 5, 45.
45.
So I'll add that now. 8. This is 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's 79.
Right.
Black has 4 here, that's 83. Has 3 here, that's 86. So black has 86 points.
86 for black. You guys got that?
White has 44 in this territory. Has 8 here.
44.
52.
52.
Black's going to get this move in.
2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points in all of that.
So there's 1 stone.
Yeah.
So it's, this is 44, and I said that was 8, so it's
52.
52.
62.
No, that's 11.
11, sorry.
So it's 63.
63.
This is 7. 8.
70.
And let's just give this one to white.
70.
This is 8 points. So 44, 52, 63, 71.
Right.
And let's just give this point. This is the last big point. So we'll have.
This is what happened actually. This is
5 points. 76 for white. And how much did I say black had? 44. You wrote it down.
Oh, 86. What did you just say for white?
44, 52, 63, 71, 76.
76. 4 points.
10 points on the board, right? So you can see from that pros are pretty good at counting, but sometimes we forget the numbers that we counted.
I'm so glad because I learned this from some strong player too. Honestly, Phil. Actually, I don't know if Phil's still watching, but Phil's the one who taught me this. Phil would actually write it down, and I thought, oh, what a good idea. Because I thought, how hard could it be to remember 2 numbers? Really hard as it turns out.
There's a lot of numbers that come in between.
It's not just 2 numbers, right? Well, and I think it might have been Phil who told me this trick, but it just never worked for me. It seemed like a really good idea. It's like you count 1, like you count the 86, and then you count down for that for the other person.
Oh, yeah. I guess you can
So I
do
think
it
it's
that
a
way.
clever thing for those who are not math challenged like myself. But it works for push-ups, by the way. That's my secret to doing push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do like 20 push-ups, and you do those first 10, and then you do the second 10, instead of going 11, 12, I start with 10, 9, 8. So I was thinking, the numbers are getting smaller. I can do this. I can do 8 more. I can do 7 more. It works for me.
Okay. And White did play this, Hane? This is fun. I was wondering if he would try something here. And if Black covers here, then this would be a big problem.
Yeah.
But of course, Black was cautious and played here, so it's nothing doing.
So that's it. We counted this.
It's the same thing.
Same thing?
Well, one white stone, one black stone added. No problem.
Okay.
It's the same 86
Gotcha.
points for
Gotcha.
Black.
Okay. All right. Connect.
And where did Black play before that? White is just connected here. Oh, Black connected underneath here. It's interesting that Black omitted to play all these endgame moves.
I was wondering about that too. There's an Atari.
But Black has an extra 3 or 4 points here. It's not a big deal. White played this move. It's 2 points in reverse. But Black's connection underneath here was pretty big because it made this full side eye.
Right.
It made it a point.
Right.
And so Black has 3 or 4 points here. And has added and made a point here for the full side. So it was a pretty big move. So it's not changing the fact that Black's... and when we counted 10 points ahead for Black on the board, it was Black's turn. So this is an extra 5 points, minus the 2 points that White got. So it's roughly 12 or 13 points on the board. Right.
That's your Atari.
This is just, they're finishing off the gap. Very straightforward. Nothing. This is going to be a 3-point move, a 3-point difference, and that's just about it. Just a few.
Did Black pick up the 3 points?
Well, this move was big enough that it wasn't in our calculation, and it was a 5-point difference, and so it's more than 10 points. It's more like 12, 13. And they're just finishing the game now, and so this is going to be the final big point. Yeah. Oh, I'm watching myself play it. Yeah. It's going to be the final big point. And this is played here. This is smaller, a lot smaller. This is just a 2-point difference. So this is bigger for White. But even if White plays that, it's going to be more than 10 points on the board.
We're waiting for the finish. We'll be back at some point tomorrow, right, Nathan? I think we're going to do probably some other stuff. We'll do the interview with Michael.
Back in here or back on stream?
For Twitch.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be back tomorrow. Yeah, I think, okay, because people have other questions.
I was kind of thinking about what we could do for the brunch. I'm sure people would like to see that, but then we have to solve that problem for the other room.
Right. So, folks, we will be back tomorrow at some point. We would like to try and stream some of the, Michael's going to be doing commentaries on games that people bring in. We have a technical issue in terms of getting sound from the room next door into here. Because we haven't drilled a hole in the wall yet.
That would certainly simplify it.
Yeah, it would simplify it. Gurujeet doesn't seem too thrilled about this particular idea. So.
Well, Joel thinks we can just go
through there, yeah. In any case, whether we do that or not, I think we can guarantee that I think we're going to have, I think Keith is going to do an interview with Michael, which should be fun for both of you. So we'll do that, and then we might try out Do folks want to see us try out maybe one or two of those Redmond random encyclopedia of Go? You want to do? Should we try out some of those? I don't want you to prepare. My whole point here is I've been trying to convince Michael that he has all of this stuff in his head.
Yeah.
So well, and the thing is, you have so much other things going on that I don't want to add to your burden. So we may try one of those.
Okay.
Just to see how they go.
Kind of do like an interview with the winner of the tournament, if we can figure.
We should definitely do that. Yeah. In fact, we can. Are we gonna? How quickly are we going to know?
I was thinking I should go ask if they figured out tie breaks.
Why don't you do that? Okay. Because I would love to
and then
get
we can
to.
Just like if we know for sure.
We can bring them in right before we finish here. Absolutely, it's a great idea. A walking neural network. I'm not sure. I think it's meant to calling you a walking neural network. I think it's meant as a compliment.
Okay.
You remember that movie back in I think it was the 60s, the computer wore tennis shoes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that. How are we doing here? Are they
finished.
They finished. They're just counting
points,
now?
Probably less than 15 points before Cody.
Okay.
I didn't do an exact count.
Sorry, we're no. If I would like to switch over so y'all can see the counting, but yes. I'm not going to go touch that screen.
Yeah.
Bad things will happen.
Right? Yeah.
Well, can you get us? Can you put the counting up on? Switch over to the counting, so folks can see that. Nathan's back.
It worked out. If Yuan wins, he wins. If Yuan wins the game, he wins the tournament. So.
Yuan's.
He's won the game.
Yeah. Can you see if he'll come in here for a minute?
Yeah.
What you have to do is bring. I think we got a chair right there. We can just. Do we have room if we just move aside slightly and put him right here?
Or I could trade places with him. Then I could relax.
Yeah. Why not? Why not do that?
Good idea. I think you've worked hard enough today.
Yeah.
Give you enough. All right, that's fine. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I think. Do we have a result? Sorry. Let me go to. We're waiting for official, but Michael is calling it for Yuan by.
Probably
like 5.
Well, maybe 13 points. So it's 6.5.
6.5.
Another 6.5. Right?
Okay.
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Can you make sure to grab Yuan to just come in here? Just tell him to just be for a couple of minutes. Once, just make sure. Wait. Obviously, are they still counting?
Yeah. Well, he found a very unique way to count that black territory in the lower right.
What are they doing over there?
It's 35 points, but it's really weird.
You guys are welcome. We enjoyed it. We need to get some AC in this room.
Yes.
So I'll tell you what happens here. We anybody that's been here will know that below us, as I mentioned earlier, there's a satay club, and then right below us is the pizza joint. I'm forgetting the name of the pizza joint. Somebody can tell me. Papa John's. And apparently, according to Gurujeet, the ovens are literally right beneath us, which I believe.
We're baking.
We are baking. And so apparently anytime after midday, they really start firing up the ovens.
In a few days, we'll probably transform into pizzas.
Yeah, I think so. That's the Michael pizza.
Yeah. I think it was 13 points on the board.
13 points on the board. I'm getting 4.5. 4.5.
4.5?
Yeah, because that was our count at a certain point. It was 4.5. So it may be that all of that stuff didn't actually change anything.
Do you guys get the result?
4.5.
Yeah, 1 second.
4.5.
It's like a Garlock here.
All right. So
Okay,
hold on
yeah.
one sec. Hold on one sec. So wait. We have to. So first of all, we're just losing the. I want to make sure I can see the screen for our credits. Nathan, thank you. So first of all, before we bring our winner in, thank you to Michael Redmond.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Really just wonderful and a real marathon today, but nothing you couldn't handle.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. I really appreciate you doing this and helping us to inaugurate this, and we'll see you again tomorrow. So now we're going to turn Michael into Yuan Zhou.
Okay.
Swap them out.
That works.
All right,
Better than pizza.
Okay, let's we'll have to unhook.
You unhook me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to take it off.
Get that. So it'll go away. Great. All right.
Shoes on, maybe.
Yeah, we're wearing pants but not shoes. So it keeps us cooler somehow, or at least we think it does.
We hope.
All right. So Yuan, why don't you come on? We'll come on in. Ooh, things look so much different from this side. All right, and we'll just clip this one. Oh, there we go. Put this in here. All right, are we good?
We're on.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Oh, exciting stuff.
Last game. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for Michael. It was a long time. My game was long. So
it was long.
I need to apologize for that. My game is always long.
I have to tell you, of course, we had three rounds, and then we saw, oh my God, it's Yuan against Justin, the two slowest players.
Exactly.
We have dinner plans.
Yes.
No, it was great. It was a great game, very exciting. So tell me, it's you back in the day. I forget how many titles did you have. You were quite
yes.
quite
I
winning.
think in the U.S. I'm the most title. I have 33.
33.
So I don't know if I win this one yet. I think.
This looks pretty good.
Yeah, so then it's 34. I have 34 title in the U.S. Yes, definitely. U.S. is my lucky. Nation country.
So you had some very tough games today.
Oh, yes,
really, I mean, just no easy games, and that first game was a heartbreaker. You were ahead until
I was winning, yes.
You were winning that game. It was very easy. Michael will show you later, but you made actually just two mistakes, and I think you were in a little bit of time trouble.
Right, that's why I was at the last period of overtime, and so due to the time pressure, I made some. Silly mistakes. I knew after I played. I knew.
Well, instead of extending up, and then once the cut happens, it was.
Yeah, that game was.
You had that right there in your hand.
Yes.
But nice bounce back.
Right. Thank you. Well, I guess this is never give up. This is always how I teach my students and work hard, and nothing's easy. So it definitely made me work as too. And the young players now they're improving.
Talk about that.
They're improving. Yeah, I used to give these guys 3 stones, 4 stones.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they are. They're improving. Well, which is good.
This game with Justin was, you got that big profit fairly early,
right.
But it's still, I didn't feel like it was ever a really. I mean, I didn't think you were in trouble, but you still had to be careful, right?
Yeah, I need to be. Yes, it's only one move. It was only one move difference. I need to be very careful, and actually, I think I haven't looked at the game yet, but I think I did bad in the USA again.
Yes, yeah, we were. I were a little worried. I said, I don't want to see Yuan, but Redmond was like, no, even Yuan can't throw this one away. As long as you don't lose on time.
Yes.
Which
I
happened.
was paying more attention to my time.
Yes.
So I knew I played a lot of bad moves in the end game. I just want to clarify the position because I knew Justin was he's pretty good with. Catching
he played a very sharp end game. He got it close. It's four and a half points, right?
Yes, right. So he got close. Before I went to the overtime, before the end game, I counted. I was winning, so I played very conservatively and
take no chances.
I didn't want to take any chances, so that was. That was the case, but again, this kind of a fast game, 45 minutes overtime. not one of my best.
No, it's tough. It's a very fast game because I know
for me to work on too.
Even when you play the U.S. Open games, which is like I think 90 minutes of basic time, and you always use up all your time. All your time. Yes, you like to sit and read everything out.
Yeah, I've been trained that way when I was young, taught pro training that way. So, I get used to that. It become a habit, and so. Hard to
It makes sense. We get so nervous.
Yeah, I thought I should have played faster. I always tell myself to play faster.
I mean,
and then once I start a game, I started to because I know these things happening, right? So, I wanted to do my best, and so I had to work on that, find a balance between the time and the game, and.
Well, I think you did a great job. And,
well, thank you.
A couple of other questions before we wrap up here. Of course, we were broadcasting. We've been doing this together for years. You've had many games with you in the top boards. We've been on KGS. Of course, we're on KGS again today. But now, of course, we're on Twitch. And so many more viewers. Does that change your game? Are you aware, or are you just totally focused on the game?
No, I was under pressure. That's why the morning game I was under pressure. I know I was on TV, and I know Michael is here. I don't want to.
You probably don't want to watch the commentary, especially not the end game.
I was like, Michael is there, and I know it's gonna be horrible. I don't want to play horrible. So I should have not do that actually. And this is the first time the NGC is going live with the whole new studio.
So what do you think? We're the only Go club, and even the Neon Kian doesn't have a broadcast studio.
Yeah, love it. So that's great. I think great for the Go, the promotion and everything. Of course, we really appreciate the Nihao Keyin, the Iwamoto Foundation to supporting the NGC. This time sending Michael Redmond.
What a treat, right?
Yes, it's great. I mean, hopefully people get the message. This is, you want to get play great games, enjoy Go, learning everything. Come to the National Go Center.
We're right here on Wisconsin Avenue.
Yeah.
Any advice for folks out there that are just watching this for the first time and want to find out about Go, other than coming to the Go Center? But of course, lots of books by you.
Yes, read my books. Thank you. Yes.
Yuan Zhou. Actually, they're on usgo.org and check out all the different, lots of different books. But Yuan Zhou is a very popular teacher. But and there are a lot of folks watching who are Go players, and what's something that they should think about in terms of improving their own game?
My suggestion, well, of course, a lot of to need to be said, but if you just say one thing, I would say play games, because it was very obvious now. AlphaGo now is the best Go player on Earth, and the reason he's very strong is because he played millions of games. Right, so through the games he learned. Those actual game learning experiences are very important, right? Because the things you have to play to understand a lot of time. That's one of the key. AlphaGo played millions of games. No human in a lifetime can reach that number. So from that point of view, there was a lot of talking about like depressed human, AlphaGo so strong now. No interest to play. Well, I heard those kind of negative comments, but actually I want to say that's not true. Well, as a human, we did pretty well. You can see AlphaGo still start with the corner side. I mean, there's a lot of speculation was, AlphaGo to start in the center. It's going to be alien moves. Something you never see before.
We see some pretty alien moves sometimes.
Yeah, it is. But generally speaking, still where human is still in the right direction. Again, the reason AlphaGo was very strong, he played millions of games, and a phenomenal record. And he could play one game. I heard as 10 seconds a game. So and he's 24/7. Right? We as a human have our life. We have our life. We have to at least eat, sleep.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we got our friends.
Yeah.
Social life.
Yeah.
Job. Other things. So don't feel depressed. And the key is play. A lot of these young players, they got very strong is because they keep playing a lot of tournaments. From the real tournaments, actual play, and then of course review them, find your teacher, review your games, very important. But play, review, back and forth. There's no shortcut. This is really good. And today the AlphaGo is up, so so in other words, in a way, this is also good. That you can enjoy the game. You don't have to worry about I want to be the best in the world. Since already right.
It's a game. Have fun.
Exactly.
With it.
I mean, and then there's a lot of philosophy with it. The Go is not just a simple game. It's very profound in Asian cultures. I mean, otherwise, if it's just a game, it won't survive 5,000 years.
Right.
Obviously, there's other things. So if one suggestion, I would say, go ahead and play the game and enjoy it.
That's good advice. All right. Hang on for 1 sec so we can wrap up. Thanks so much. Great games. Really appreciate that. And congratulations. Certainly on winning, and hopefully if you've won the tournament, even more congratulations. And I want to thank you all for watching. It's been great having you all along. Great comments. Spread the word, and we'll be doing a lot more broadcasts here. And again, if you're in the DC area, come on by. We have the National Go Center. It's a real treasure for the Go community here. And if you've never played Go before, that's okay. They've got teaching. It's on Saturdays. Is that a couple different nights? It's on the schedule, nationalgocenter.org. All right, can you get my credits up here so I can make sure that I don't forget anybody? That's Nathan Epstein, our impresario, director, producer, makes everything happen. Also, big thanks, of course, to Jeff Fitzgerald, Joe Cahalan. Our game recorders today were Keith Arnold and Gary Smith. Graphic support by the wonderful Stephen Hu and our own Nate Eagle. And also Jonathan Hopp. I think Jonathan helped out with some stuff as well. Yeah. So, and again, Nathan Epstein just cannot thank Nathan enough. He was here until some ungodly hour this morning. He must be about ready to crash. So we have to let, because we're going to be back again tomorrow. So again, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night.